So the name of my lesson is Tic-Tac-Toe Toss. The objective is students will practice throwing cues, mainly stepping with the opposite foot. While playing, students will stand behind a line and use throwing cues, mainly stepping with the opposite foot, to throw yarn to other students who are staying in the hula hoops. While playing, students will demonstrate on cue key elements in underhand throw and catch. Also, while playing, students will demonstrate the ability to work with a partner, such as leading and following one another. TEKS. Mine is 116.3b1 movement. The student will demonstrate competency in fundamental movement patterns and proficiency in a few specialized movement forms. The student is expected to demonstrate the ability to work with a partner, such as leading and following. And H, demonstrate on cue key elements in overhand throw, underhand throw, and catch. So the description of the activity, there's 9 hula hoops in a 3x3 setup, and they'll be used to prepare the tic-tac-toe board. In each container, place yarn balls and set near the tic-tac-toe board. A jump rope will then be used to mark a throwing line that is the age-appropriate distance for catching and throwing. Assign students a partner and ask 2 sets of partners to go to tic-tac-toe board. So there's 4 students per board. Then assign each set of a partner a color for yarn balls to mark the X's and O's. In this game, student 1 will choose a hoop to stand in. Student 2 will stand behind the throwing line, the jump rope, and throw the yarn ball to student 1. If student 1 catches the yarn ball, he or she will then place the yarn ball in the hoop where they caught it to mark their spot. Then partner group 2, student 3 and 4, will repeat what student 1 and 2 just did. The game continues until the yarn ball marks the tic-tac-toe pattern. Once those skills are mastered, students can play a couple more rounds of the game, but in the next rounds, the students underhand throw with their non-dominant hand and the other students catch it. Then in the third round of the game, have students try and move the catch to the underhand throw with only one hand. So students now will only, in the third round, be catching the underhand throw with one hand. So the organizational instructions. Tic-tac-toe toss will be played in the gym. There will be 9 hula hoops, 3x3 setup will be used to prepare the tic-tac-toe board. In the container, you place the yarn balls and set near the tic-tac-toe board. A jump rope will then be used to mark a throwing line that is age-appropriate distance for catching and throwing. Assign students a partner and ask the 2 sets of partners to go to tic-tac-toe board, so 4 students per board again. Then assign each set of partners a color for yarn balls to mark the X's and O's. This game is played with 2 groups of partner pairs. The partner pairs are randomly selected. After 5 minutes, each partner pair will switch spots with their designated partner. Student 1, who is throwing behind the jump rope line, will catch now in the hula hoop, and student 2, who is catching in the hula hoop, will switch and throw behind the jump rope line now. Then partner group number 2, student 3 and 4 will repeat what student 1 and 2 just did. The game continues until the yarn balls make a tic-tac-toe pattern. Once those skills are mastered, the students can play a couple more rounds of the game, but in the next round, the students have to underhand throw with their non-dominant hand and other students catch it. Then the third round of the game, have students try moving the throwing line back further and catching the underhand throw with one hand only. The equipment, 9 hula hoops, 1 container, 5 red yarn balls, 5 blue yarn balls, or any 2 colors, jump rope, and poly spots. The motivational techniques I used in my lesson were teaching by imitation. The movement is too simple for the student, then they can choose to use a more difficult throwing style such as the overhand throw or move the jump rope line back some. Enter task within the task variation. If students are struggling with the movement skills such as catching, the teacher will change the movement skills so the students may continue successfully practicing the objective. For example, if most students cannot catch the yarn with their hands, the teacher will allow students to use a bucket to catch. Next, we have the task self-assessment sheet. So students will self-assess how they're doing on the task, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. So the tasks they'll self-assess them are, I can throw underhand very well. I can throw underhand while stepping with my opposite foot towards the target. I can underhand throw with my non-dominant hand. I can face my target. I can catch very well, and I can catch with one hand. So I said introduction for my lesson plan, and I said, good morning, boys and girls. I can always teach you this new game where we'll be practicing underhand throwing and catching. In our new game, we'll use some of our skills we already learned about underhand throwing. Now we're going to add to our underhand throwing skills by stepping with our opposite foot. Hold a finger up if you can remember practicing our underhand throwing. Good. Hold a finger up if you remember practicing our catching skills. Good. You all have such great memories. Today we'll be using those 2 important skills in our game. So the scaffolding in my lesson would be, my friends, do you remember practicing our underhand throwing and catching at the beginning of the week? I'll show them a poster of underhand throwing, catching, and overhand throw. We practice facing our target, using pendulum arm motion with the arm you're throwing with, and getting in the ready position to catch. Today we're playing a new game using those skills we learned, and we will add to our underhand throwing skills by stepping with our opposite foot. Later in the year, after underhand throwing skills are strong, we'll build off our skills that we've learned in practice and move to overhand throwing. Once we have strong overhand throwing and catching skills, we will play some really fun games that you will use those skills in, such as raindrop and jellyfish scarf catching. I'm extremely excited to teach you more fun games in this year. Recognition check. Watch me throw underhand. Did I follow through to the ceiling with the hand I was throwing with? Students will respond with a thumbs up or thumbs down. Verbal check. When catching, what should my eyes be doing? I'll give them 2 answer choices: tracking or scanning. The students will hold up 1 finger for tracking and 2 fingers for scanning. I'll count back from 10 and the students will hold up 1 or 2 fingers for their answer choice. Performance check. What does a good underhand throw movement look like, guys? Students will then perform a model of good underhand throw using all the cues. Then they will slip back down once they are finished. Now we're going to go talk about the task in my lesson. So the first task is student number 2 stands behind the jump rope line and throws underhand the yarn ball to student number 1 in the hoop. So the cues for this task will be face your target, step with the opposite foot towards the target, use a pendulum arm motion when you're throwing with, like you're bowling, follow through to the ceiling with the hand you were throwing with. The challenges for this specific task would be throw 4 good underhand throws in a row, keep 1 foot on the poly spot when throwing. My second task is student 1 catches the yarn ball in the hula hoop that student 2 threw underhand. The cues for this task will be track the yarn with my eyes all the way into my hands, reach hands out toward the ball, grab the ball, bring it into your body. The challenge would be catch 4 yarn balls in a row, keep 1 foot in the poly spot when catching. Student 3 stands behind the jump rope line and throws underhand the yarn ball to student 4 who's in the hoop. For this task, our cues will be face your target, step with the opposite foot towards the target, use a pendulum arm motion with the arm you're throwing with, like you're bowling, follow through to the ceiling with the hand you're throwing with. My next task, student 4 will catch the yarn ball in the hula hoop that student 3 threw underhand. The cues would be track the yarn with my eyes all the way into my hands, reach hands out towards the ball, grab the ball, bring it to your body. Student number 2, this is my next task, stands behind the jump rope line and throws underhand using their non-dominant hand the yarn ball to student 1 who's in the hoop. The cues we need for this one is face your target, step with the opposite foot towards the target, use a pendulum arm motion with the arm you're throwing with, like you're bowling, follow through to the ceiling with the hand you're throwing with. The challenges for this task would be throw 3 good non-dominant underhand throws in a row. The next task would be student 1 catches the yarn ball that student 2 threw underhand. Repeat these last 2 tasks for student 3 and 4, of course. Track the yarn with my eyes all the way to my hands for the cues. Reach hands out towards the ball. Grab the ball, bring it into your body. The challenges would be catch 3 yarn balls in a row. Our last task is have the student who is catching the yarn ball catch with only 1 hand. Track the yarn with my eyes all the way to my hands. Reach out towards the ball. Grab the ball and bring it into your body. So I have some feedback in my lesson that I want to discuss. And my first one is, great job today, boys and girls. I love how hard everyone is working. That's behavior, that's general, that's positive, and that's incongruent. Owen, way to step with your opposite foot to the target. That's a skill, it's specific, it's positive, and it's congruent. Gwen, you're putting in terrific effort. Nice catch. It's specific because I'm addressing the student, it's a skill, it is positive, and it is congruent. We should all be following through on our throws and stepping with our opposite foot to the target. That's a skill, it's specific, it is congruent, and it is neutral. Awesome job today, kiddo, staying on task. That's a behavior, and that's general, and it's positive, and it's incongruent. Liam, please do not throw the yarn at your partner's face. That would be a behavior. That would be specific because I'm addressing a specific student. It is negative, and it is incongruent. It has nothing to follow through with the lesson, really. Closure. Today was extremely exciting and enjoyable. We learned how to play our new tic-tac-toe toss game, which used our catching and underhand throwing skills. I have a couple questions for my friends today. What are our 4 underhand throwing cues, guys? After I count back from 10, the students will raise their hand to answer the question if they want to. I'm so proud of my friends for knowing our 4 underhand throwing cues. So, can anyone tell me our 4 catching cues? After I count back from 10, the students will raise their hand to answer the question if they want to.